Maya had been in the cell for 3 days now. The Kethvar gave her food that tasted bad and water that was warm and had a strange smell. She tried to stay strong, but it was hard when she thought about her dead friends. The young soldier who had found her on the ship came to check on her every day. His name was Kale, and he was different from the other Kethvar. He did not seem to enjoy being cruel. Sometimes Maya caught him looking at her with what might have been sadness in his yellow eyes. On the 4th day, Kale brought her food as usual, but this time he stayed outside her cell longer than normal. He looked around to make sure no other soldiers were watching, then moved closer to the bars. "Human," he said quietly. "Why do your people explore space if you cannot fight?" Maya was surprised by the question. Most Kethvar just ignored her or said mean things. "We explore because we want to learn," she said. "We want to understand the universe and meet new friends." Kale's head tilted to one side like he was confused. "Friends. But if you cannot fight, how can you be useful to anyone?" "There are many ways to be useful without fighting," Maya explained. "I am a scientist. I study animals and try to understand how they live and what they need. This helps us take better care of them." "You study beasts?" Kale seemed interested now. "Yes, all kinds of animals. On my home planet and on other worlds too. Every animal is different and special in its own way." Kyle was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "The Vorthak is not from our world. We took it from a place called Grimnar Prime when it was young." Maya's heart started beating faster. This was important information. "Tell me about Grimnar Prime. What kind of place is it?" Kale looked around again to make sure they were alone. "It is what your people would call a death world. Everything there is dangerous. The plants have poison, the ground shakes all the time, and the weather changes quickly from burning hot to freezing cold." "What about the animals?" Maya asked. "They are all predators. They have to be, or they die. But they are also smart. They work together to hunt and survive." Kale paused, then said something that surprised Maya. "Some of our old books say the animals on Grimnar Prime are almost as smart as people." Maya felt a spark of hope. If the Vorthak was intelligent and came from a world where animals worked together, maybe it was not just a mindless killing machine. "How long has the Vorthak been in captivity?" she asked. 20 years, maybe more. It was brought here when I was just a child." Kale's voice sounded sad. "They put it in the arena and made it fight our warriors. At first it was scared and tried to hide. But when the warriors attacked it, it learned to fight back. And now it kills everything they put in the arena with it. Warriors, criminals, even other dangerous beasts from different worlds. Nothing survives." Kale looked at Maya with something like pity. "Commander Zekalon thinks your death will be quick. But I have seen the Vorthak fight. It does not kill quickly anymore. It is angry." Maya thought about this. An intelligent animal that had been forced to fight for 20 years would indeed be angry. But anger came from pain, and pain could sometimes be healed with kindness. "Kale," she said carefully, "do you think what your people do to the Vorthak is right?" The young soldier's scales changed color slightly, becoming more pale. This seemed to be a sign of emotion in Kethvar. "I am a soldier. I do not question orders. But what do you think in your heart?" Kale was quiet for a long time. Finally he said, "When I was young, I had a small pet. It was like a tiny dragon with soft fur. My father said pets make warriors weak, so he took it away and killed it. I cried for days." Maya felt sorry for him. "I'm sorry that happened to you." "The Vorthak was young once, too. It probably had a family on Grimnar Prime. Pack animals usually do." Kale's voice was very quiet now. "Maybe it cries too, but no one listens." Over the next few days, Kale told Maya more about the Vorthak. It was 12 feet tall and looked like a giant wolf mixed with a bear. It had thick black fur and long claws, but the most unusual thing about it was the crystal spines that grew along its back. These crystals could glow different colors depending on the creature's mood. "When it is about to attack, the crystals turn bright red," Kyle explained. "When it is hurt or sad, they turn blue. I have never seen them turn any other color." Maya asked many questions about how the creature behaved in the arena. Did it attack right away or did it wait? Did it seem to study its opponents first? Did it show any signs of trying to communicate? Kale was surprised by these questions. Most people only wanted to know how fast the Vorthak could kill. But he answered as best he could. "It always waits," he said. "It stands at one end of the arena and watches. The warriors usually charge at it with their weapons, screaming war cries. That is when it attacks." "What if someone did not charge at it?" Maya asked. "No one has ever tried that. Warriors must show courage or they bring shame to their families. Maya nodded, but inside she was thinking hard. The Vorthak waited and watched before fighting. That sounded like intelligent behavior, not mindless rage. Maybe it only attacked when it felt threatened. On the day before the arena fight, Commander Zeklon came to see Maya again. He looked very pleased with himself. "Tomorrow, human, you will die in front of 10,000 of my people. Your death will be broadcast across the galaxy so everyone can see how weak your species is." "Why do you hate humans so much?" Maya asked. Zeklon's eyes flashed with anger. "Your people have no honor. You make friends with your enemies instead of conquering them. You share your technology instead of using it to become stronger. You are soft and weak, and yet somehow you keep winning battles you should lose." "Maybe we win because we make friends instead of enemies," Maya suggested. "Friendship is weakness," Zeklon roared. "Only the strong survive in this universe. Tomorrow the Vorthak will prove that." After he left, Maya sat in her cell and thought about everything Kale had told her. The Vorthak was intelligent, angry, and had been alone for 20 years. It attacked when threatened, but it waited and watched first. Maya was a scientist, not a warrior. She could not fight a 12-foot monster with claws and crystal spines, but maybe she did not have to fight it at all. She thought about the animals she had studied on Earth. Wolves, bears, even dangerous predators could be calm and gentle if they did not feel threatened. They had their own ways of communicating, their own social rules. The Vorthak came from a world where animals worked together to survive. Pack animals had complex social structures. They understood dominance and submission, but they also understood cooperation and mutual respect. Maya had never tried to communicate with an alien predator before, but she had worked with dangerous animals on Earth. The key was always the same: show no fear, show no aggression, and let the animal make the first choice about whether to trust you. That night, Maya did not sleep much. She spent the time thinking about her plan. It was probably crazy and it would probably get her killed, but it was the only chance she had. Tomorrow she would enter the arena not as a warrior, but as a scientist trying to make first contact with an alien intelligence. If she was wrong about the Vorthak, she would die quickly. But if she was right, maybe something amazing would happen. Either way, she would face tomorrow with the same curiosity and respect for life that had made her become a scientist in the first place. Her friends on the Nova Dawn had died seeking knowledge and understanding. If Maya was going to join them, at least she would die the same way. The morning of the arena fight came too soon. Maya woke up when she heard the heavy footsteps of Kethavar guards coming down the hallway. Her heart was beating fast, but she tried to stay calm. Today she would either die or make history. 4 soldiers came to her cell. They were all bigger and meaner looking than Kale, with more scars and darker scales. Their leader had only one eye and his armor was decorated with the bones of his enemies. "Time to die, human," the one-eyed soldier said with an ugly smile. "The crowd is already gathering to watch you become food for our pet." They put heavy chains on Maya's hands and feet, but they were not necessary. She was not going to try to run away. Running would only make things worse when she faced the Vorthak. The guards pushed her through the dark corridors of the Kethvar ship. Other soldiers stopped their work to stare at her as she passed. Some laughed and made jokes about how quickly she would die. Others just watched her with curious eyes. Finally, they reached a huge door that opened onto the arena. Maya had to squint because the light outside was much brighter than the dim hallways of the ship. When her eyes adjusted, she gasped at what she saw. The arena was enormous, bigger than any sports stadium on Earth. It was carved out of solid rock and could hold tens of thousands of people. Every seat was filled with Kethvar spectators, all waiting to see her die. Their voices created a noise like thunder that seemed to shake the ground beneath her feet. Commander Zeklon was sitting in a special box high above the arena floor. He stood up when he saw Maya and raised his arms to quiet the crowd. "Citizens of the Kethvar Empire," his voice boomed across the arena through hidden speakers. "Today we show the galaxy what happens to those who think they can challenge us. Behold the human who dared to enter our space." The crowd roared with anger and excitement. Maya tried not to let their hatred frighten her. She needed to stay calm for what was coming next. "But first," Zeklon continued, "let us bring out our champion, the beast that has never been defeated, the terror of Grimnar Prime, the mighty Vorthak." On the other side of the arena, a massive metal gate began to rise. Maya held her breath as she waited to see the creature that would either kill her, or if she was very lucky, listen to what she had to say. At first, she saw only darkness beyond the gate. Then 2 glowing eyes appeared in the shadows, followed by the sound of heavy breathing. Slowly, the Vorthak stepped into the light. Maya had expected it to be big, but seeing it in person was different from hearing about it. The creature was 12 feet tall at the shoulder and at least 20 feet long. Its thick black fur rippled as it moved, and its crystal spines caught the light and threw rainbow colors across the arena floor. But what struck Maya most was not its size or its obvious strength. It was the intelligence in its glowing blue eyes. This was not a mindless monster. This was a thinking, feeling being that had been trapped and forced to fight for far too long. The Vorthak walked slowly to the center of the arena, its head turning back and forth as it looked at all the screaming spectators. Its crystal spines were glowing a dull blue color, which Kale had said meant sadness or pain. Maya realized that her chains had been removed while she was staring at the creature. The guards had backed away and left her alone on the arena floor. It was just her and the Vorthak now. The crowd was chanting for blood, waiting for the monster to attack and tear her apart. But the Vorthak just stood there looking at Maya with those intelligent eyes. Maya took a deep breath and did something that probably looked insane to everyone watching. Instead of running or trying to find a weapon, she sat down on the sand in the middle of the arena. The crowd's chanting faltered and became confused, murmuring. This was not what they had expected to see. Warriors were supposed to fight, not sit down like they were having a picnic. Maya ignored the crowd completely. She focused all her attention on the Vorthak, but she did not stare directly at its eyes. In animal behavior, direct eye contact often meant challenge or aggression. Instead, she looked slightly to one side and began to hum softly. The tune was an old earth lullaby that her mother had sung to her when she was little. It was gentle and peaceful, the kind of sound that said, "I am not dangerous, I will not hurt you." The Vorthak tilted its massive head to one side, clearly confused by this strange behavior. It took a step closer to Maya, then stopped. Its crystal spines flickered between blue and a pale green color that Maya had never heard Kale describe. Minutes passed. The crowd was getting restless. Some of them started booing and calling for action, but Maya just kept humming her soft tune and sitting peacefully on the arena floor. The Vorthak took another step closer. Maya could smell it now. A wild scent like forest and rain and something else that was completely alien. The creature's breathing was deep and steady, not the rapid panting of something preparing to attack. Very slowly, Maya extended one hand toward the creature, palm down, and fingers relaxed. This was a gesture of peace that worked with many earth animals. She hoped it would work with an alien one too. The Vorthak stopped moving and stared at her hand. For a moment that felt like forever, nothing happened. Maya could hear her own heart beating and the confused murmur of the crowd above. Then the creature lowered its huge head and sniffed her hand. Maya felt the warm air from the Vorthak's nostrils on her skin. The creature's nose was wet and cold, just like a dog's. For a few seconds it just smelled her hand, learning about her through scent. The crowd had gone completely quiet now. Even Commander Zeklon was leaning forward in his box, unable to believe what he was seeing. The Vorthak lifted its head and looked directly into Maya's eyes for the first time. She looked back without fear, letting the creature see that she meant no harm. Those glowing blue eyes were full of intelligence and curiosity, and something else that made Maya's heart ache: loneliness. This magnificent creature had been alone for 20 years, forced to kill anyone who came near it. It had probably forgotten what it felt like to be touched with kindness instead of violence. Very carefully, Maya moved her hand closer to the Vorthak's head. The creature did not pull away. She gently placed her palm on the soft fur between its eyes and spoke to it in a quiet, soothing voice. "Hello," she whispered. "My name is Maya. I'm not here to hurt you. I know you're tired of fighting. I know you want to go home." The Vorthak's crystal spines suddenly blazed with bright green light, a color that bathed the entire arena in an emerald glow. The creature made a sound that was part rumble and part sigh, like a giant cat purring. Then, to the complete shock of every person in the arena, the mighty Vorthak lowered itself to the ground and laid its massive head in Maya's lap. Maya felt tears running down her face as she gently stroked the creature's fur. The Vorthak's eyes were closed, and its crystal spines pulsed with that warm green light. For the first time in 20 years, it was not alone. The arena exploded into chaos. Some Kethvar were shouting in anger, others in amazement. Commander Zeklan was screaming orders that no one could hear over the noise of the crowd, but Maya heard none of it. All her attention was focused on the amazing creature that had chosen to trust her instead of kill her. She continued to hum her gentle tune and stroke the Vorthak's fur, marveling at the fact that she was still alive. "I know you're not really a monster," she whispered to the creature. "You're just scared and lonely and tired of being hurt. But maybe we can change that." The Vorthak opened its eyes and looked at her with an expression that was unmistakably grateful. Its crystal spines glowed even brighter, and it made that deep purring sound again. Maya had done the impossible. She had made friends with the most dangerous creature in the galaxy, simply by showing it kindness instead of fear. But she knew this was just the beginning. The real challenge would be getting both of them out of the arena alive. Commander Zeklan was not going to let this humiliation go unpunished. Even now she could see guards moving toward the arena floor, carrying weapons and looking very angry. Maya stood up carefully, and the Vorthak rose with her, staying close by her side like a protective guardian. Its crystal spines had turned from green to bright red, and it was looking at the approaching guards with obvious hostility. "Easy, friend," Maya said softly, placing her hand on the creature's side. "Let's see what happens next." The Vorthak's spines faded from red to yellow, a color Maya had not seen before. She had a feeling it meant the creature was ready to follow her lead, whatever that might be. For the first time since being captured, Maya felt hope. She was not alone anymore. She had an ally, and not just any ally, but the strongest and smartest creature the Kethvar had ever captured. Now she just had to figure out how to get them both home. The arena was in complete chaos. Kethvar soldiers were shouting and running in all directions. Some were trying to calm the confused crowd, while others were preparing weapons to deal with the impossible situation on the arena floor. Commander Zeklan's voice boomed over the noise. "Kill them both. The human has used some kind of mind trick on our champion. This cannot be allowed." Maya kept her hand on the Vorthak's side as armed guards poured into the arena. The creature's crystal spines were glowing bright red now, and it made a low growling sound that seemed to shake the ground. It was clear that it would protect Maya from anyone who tried to hurt her. But before the guards could reach them, explosions echoed from somewhere above the arena. The sounds of battle filled the air, mixing with the noise of the panicking crowd. Maya looked up and saw something that made her heart leap with joy. Human ships were attacking the Kethvar arena complex. Leading the assault was a ship Maya recognized. It was the USS Liberty, commanded by Captain Susan Wright. Maya had met Captain Wright once before at a science conference. She was a tough, smart woman who never left people behind. But the ship that made Maya's eyes fill with tears was smaller and badly damaged. It was a piece of the Nova Dawn, somehow still flying despite being mostly destroyed. Through the broken hull, she could see someone in a pilot's seat. "Jake," she shouted, even though he could not possibly hear her. Her best friend had survived the attack on their ship. He must have hidden somewhere during the battle and managed to keep part of the Nova Dawn working. Now he had brought help to rescue her. The Kethvar guards in the arena were confused and scared. They had never seen a situation like this before. Some of them aimed their weapons at Maya and the Vorthak, but others were looking up at the sky where the battle was happening. Maya knew this was her chance. She spoke quietly to the Vorthak, not sure if it could understand her words, but hoping it would understand her tone. "We need to get out of here," she said. "Can you help me reach those ships?" The Vorthak looked at her, then at the guards, then up at the human ships. Its crystal spines shifted from red to that bright green color Maya had seen before. It seemed to understand that the ships meant rescue and safety. Suddenly the creature moved. It was faster than anything that size should be able to move. In one smooth motion, it scooped Maya up and placed her gently on its back, right between its glowing crystal spines. Maya had to hold on tight as the Vorthak leaped into action. It bounded across the arena floor toward the exit, moving so fast that the Kethvar guards could not aim their weapons properly. The few shots they managed to fire missed completely, but getting out of the arena was only the first problem. The Kethvar ship was huge, with many levels and corridors. Maya had no idea how to reach the landing bays where the rescue ships might be able to pick them up. That was when Kyle appeared. The young HFY soldier was waiting for them at the arena exit, but he was not trying to stop them. Instead, he waved for them to follow him. "This way," he shouted over the noise of the battle. "I know a path to the docking bay." Maya was surprised but grateful. "Why are you helping us?" "Because you were right," Kyle called back as he started running down a side corridor. "What we did to the Vorthak was wrong. What we did to your friends was wrong. I cannot fix all of it, but I can help you escape." The three of them moved quickly through the ship. Kyle knew all the back passages and service tunnels that other soldiers would not think to guard. The Vorthak had to duck its head in some of the smaller corridors, but it followed without complaint. As they ran, Maya could hear the sounds of fighting getting closer. The human rescue ships were fighting their way deeper into the HFY vessel, trying to reach the arena where they thought Maya was trapped. They passed other HFY soldiers in the corridors, but most of them were too busy with the attack to pay attention to one young guard, leading what looked like prisoners toward the detention levels. The few who did look confused by the sight were quickly left behind by the Vorthak's incredible speed. Maya was amazed by how intelligent the creature was. It seemed to understand that they were escaping, and that Kale was helping them. When they came to intersections, it would look to Kale for direction. When they had to climb stairs, it was careful not to let Maya fall from its back. "How much further?" Maya asked as they reached what seemed like the 100th corridor. "Almost there," Kale replied. He was breathing hard from running, but he did not slow down. "The main docking bay is just ahead." They turned a corner and found themselves facing a large door marked with HFY symbols. Beyond it, Maya could hear the sound of human voices and the familiar hum of human technology. But between them and the door stood a group of HFY soldiers, led by Commander Zeklon himself. The commander's yellow eyes were blazing with fury. His claws were extended and his armor was scorched from the fighting. He looked like he wanted to tear all of them apart with his bare hands. "Traitor," he snarled at Kyle. "You dare to help our enemies escape." "They are not our enemies," Kale replied, though Maya could see that he was scared. "They are just people trying to go home." "The human used forbidden magic to control the Vorthak," Zeklon roared. "She has made us look weak in front of the entire galaxy. Both of them must die." The Vorthak stepped forward, placing itself between Maya and the angry commander. Its crystal spines blazed with red light, and it made a sound like thunder rolling across the sky. The message was clear. Anyone who wanted to hurt Maya would have to go through it first. Commander Zeklon drew his weapon, a curved blade that glowed with energy. The other soldiers raised their guns. Maya realized that even with the Vorthak's protection, they were trapped, but then the docking bay door exploded inward. Captain Susan Wright charged through the smoke and debris, leading a team of human Marines. She was a tall woman with gray hair and sharp blue eyes that missed nothing. Her uniform was torn and dirty from fighting, but she moved like someone who had never lost a battle. "Dr. Johnson," she called out when she saw Maya. "Are you injured?" "I'm fine," Maya shouted back. "But we need to get out of here quickly." The human Marines immediately started fighting the HFY soldiers. Captain Wright herself engaged Commander Zeklon, matching his alien strength with human determination and better tactics. In the confusion of the battle, Kale grabbed Maya's arm. "Come on, while they are distracted." The Vorthak seemed to understand the situation perfectly. It stayed low to avoid the flying bullets and energy beams, carrying Maya safely through the chaos toward the human ships. Maya could see Jake through the broken cockpit of what was left of the Nova Dawn. He was grinning and waving at her, tears streaming down his face. He had never given up hope that she was still alive. Captain Wright's ship, the USS Liberty, had landed in the docking bay. Its cargo door was open, and more Marines were coming out to help with the fight. But as they reached the ships, Maya realized there was a problem. The Vorthak was too big to fit through the cargo door of any human ship. Even if they could get it inside, there was no way it would survive the journey through space without proper life support for its species. The creature seemed to understand this too. It gently lowered Maya to the ground near the Liberty's cargo door, then stepped back. Its crystal spines had turned from red to blue, the color of sadness. "No," Maya said firmly. "I'm not leaving you behind." We'll find a way. But the Vorthak shook its massive head and made a soft rumbling sound. It was trying to tell her that she should go, that her safety was more important than its freedom. Maya felt her heart breaking. After 20 years of captivity and loneliness, the creature was willing to sacrifice its chance at freedom to make sure she escaped safely. That was when Kale spoke up. "There is another way," he said. "The Kethvar have large transport ships designed for moving dangerous creatures. I know where one is docked." Captain Wright had finished defeating Commander Zeklon and heard the conversation. She looked at the Vorthak with professional interest. "Dr. Johnson," she said, "are you telling me that you have managed to communicate with this creature?" "Yes," Maya replied. "It's intelligent, Captain. More intelligent than most people realize. It doesn't deserve to spend the rest of its life in captivity." Captain Wright nodded slowly. She had heard stories about Maya's work with animals, and she trusted the scientist's judgment. "Then we take it with us," she decided. "Kyle, show us this transport ship. Marines, secure the area while we prepare for departure." As they moved toward the larger ship, Maya realized that something amazing was happening. She was not just escaping from the Kethvar, she was taking with her proof that humans could communicate with alien species in ways that no one had ever imagined. The Vorthak was not just a rescued prisoner. It was the first member of a new kind of family, one that included both humans and alien creatures working together. Maya smiled as she watched the magnificent creature carefully board the transport ship, its crystal spines glowing with hopeful green light. The real adventure was just beginning. The great meeting hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with worried voices. Aliens from dozens of different worlds sat around the huge curved table, their strange forms casting odd shadows in the blue light. Some looked like walking crystals, others had too many eyes, and a few seemed to be made of living metal, but they all shared the same expression of fear. Ambassador Zeltar touched his glass-like fingers on the black table. His crystal body caught the light as he moved. Next to him, Hive Queen Vashka clicked her sharp mouth parts together. The sound echoed in the quiet moments between conversations. Everyone knew why they were here, but no one wanted to say it first. High Arbiter Thexalon stood up slowly. His 4 yellow eyes looked at each face around the table. "We need to talk about the humans," he said. The room became silent. Far away on a small ship called Discovery, Captain Jake Morrison had no idea that his name was being spoken in fear across the galaxy. He was drinking coffee and reading reports from his crew. They had just finished fixing an old space station that had been broken for years. It took them 3 days of hard work, but they got it running again. "Captain," called Dr. Lisa Carter from across the small dining area. She was the team's expert on alien life. "The radiation readings from that station should have killed us all." "How are we still alive?" Jake shrugged. "Good suits, I guess. Plus, we worked fast." He took another sip of coffee. "The Zephyrians seemed happy we fixed it for them." Lisa laughed. "Happy? Their strongest warrior tried to arm wrestle me yesterday. I won 3 times before he gave up." What Jake and Lisa did not know was that the Zephyrians had sent reports home about these strange humans. They wrote about creatures who could work in deadly radiation like it was nothing. They told stories of a small female who could beat their greatest warriors in tests of strength. They said these humans smiled while doing impossible things. The Zephyrians were known across the galaxy as one of the toughest species alive. They had never lost a fight. Their home planet was so harsh that most aliens could not even visit it. But they came back from meeting humans with stories that made no sense. "They fixed our station in 3 days," the Zephyrian report said. "Our best engineers said it would take 6 months. The humans just looked at it, talked among themselves, and started working. They did not seem worried about the radiation. They did not seem worried about anything." These reports reached the Trade Federation first. The Federation was a group of merchant species who bought and sold goods across the galaxy. When they read about humans, they made a quick decision. All human space was marked as dangerous. No Federation ships would go there. "We cannot risk our crews," said Trademaster Helkin. "If the humans are as dangerous as the Zephyrians say, we should stay away." But the stories did not stop there. Every species that met humans came back with impossible tales. The rock-like granite people met a human geology team. The humans walked on their burning hot world without protection. They picked up rocks that were too hot to touch and studied them like they were interesting toys. The temperature was 800 degrees, the granite people reported. Our own people need cooling suits to work there. The humans wore thin clothes and seemed comfortable. Captain Ben Phillips was leading a trade mission when he got a message that confused him. The butterfly-like stellar wings had agreed to meet with him, but when he arrived at the meeting point, they were gone. Later, he learned they had fled when they heard humans were coming. "We do not understand," Ben told his crew. I offered to share coffee with them. "Maybe they do not drink coffee?" His crew laughed, but across the galaxy that offer of coffee was being studied by military experts. Some thought it was a code. Others believed it was a threat. The idea that humans would casually offer an unknown substance to aliens seemed like either incredible confidence or a trap. Dr. Sandra Williams was trying to talk to the collective of minds, a group of aliens who could read thoughts. She went through the normal tests that all diplomats had to take. The mind readers looked into her head and then refused to see her again. "Her mind is like armor," they reported to their leaders. "We cannot read her thoughts clearly. She has walls in her head that we have never seen before. This is not natural. Humans must have evolved to fight mind readers." Sandra had no idea what they meant. To her, the test had felt normal. She thought about her job, her family, and what she wanted for lunch. She had no special training to block mind readers. She was just thinking like any human would think. But to the collective, human thoughts were terrifying. Humans could think about many things at once. They could be worried about one thing while working on something else. They could be sad about the past while planning for the future. The collective had never met minds that worked this way. As more reports came in, the fear grew stronger. The hegemony met human engineers who built things faster than should be possible. The academic collective studied humans who learned new languages in days instead of years. The peaceful assembly watched humans who stayed calm during emergencies that would panic most species. Every story made humans seem more dangerous. But the humans themselves did not know any of this was happening. They were just doing normal human things. They fixed problems because problems needed fixing. They helped people because helping people was the right thing to do. They stayed calm during trouble because panicking never helped anyone. Commander Amy Rodriguez was leading a rescue mission when the stories about her started. A mine had collapsed on a world called Proxima 7. The local aliens could not reach the trapped workers because of poisonous gas and extreme heat. Amy and her crew went in anyway. "Someone has to help them," she told her team. "We have good equipment and training. Let's go save some lives." The rescue took 6 hours. Amy's team worked in conditions that would kill most aliens in minutes. The poisonous gas did not seem to bother them much. The heat made them sweat, but they kept working. They brought out all the trapped miners alive. The miners were so grateful that they broadcast the rescue live to their home world. Millions of aliens watched humans walk through deadly conditions like they were taking a walk in the park. The footage spread to other worlds, then to other star systems. Soon, every alien in the galaxy had heard about the humans. They were described as beings who could survive anything, fix anything, and fight anything. Parents scared their children with stories of the terrible humans who breathed poison and ate radiation. But Jake Morrison was still just drinking coffee and reading reports, completely unaware that his species had become the most feared creatures in the galaxy. The stories about humans grew bigger and more frightening every day. What had started as simple reports from alien traders and explorers had become wild tales that spread from world to world like fire. Parents across the galaxy told their children scary stories about the Terran devils who could breathe poison gas, walk through space without suits, and melt metal with their bare hands. Captain Amy Rodriguez had no idea that her simple rescue mission had started a legend. She was now loading supplies onto her cargo ship, the New Dawn, getting ready for another routine delivery run. Her crew was happy and relaxed, joking about the new coffee machine they had installed in the break room. "Amy, you should see this," called engineer Ryan Foster from his computer station. "I'm getting weird readings from the trade networks. It looks like ship traffic is avoiding our sector completely." Amy walked over to look at the screen. The normal busy space lanes that connected different star systems were empty where human ships traveled. "Maybe there's some kind of trade dispute," she said. "We'll figure it out when we get to the next station." But Amy would never make it to that station. Every alien government in 3 sectors had quietly spread the word: avoid human space at all costs. The cargo station she was heading to had been evacuated 2 days earlier when someone reported that human ships were coming. The evacuation had started when Station Master Korvik received a normal trade request from the New Dawn. Amy had sent a friendly message asking for docking permission and offering to share Earth chocolate with the station crew. To Korvik, this seemed like a threat. They want to give us their food, he told his security chief. This must be how they poison their enemies. Evacuate the station immediately. Within hours, 3,000 alien workers had fled to nearby worlds, spreading stories about the approaching human poison ship. The story grew with each telling. Soon, people were saying that humans could kill with their breath, that their food was made from melted metal, and that they traveled in ships powered by the screams of their enemies. Dr. Sandra Williams was having her own problems on the other side of the galaxy. She had been trying to establish formal diplomatic relations with different alien governments for months. Every time she arranged a meeting, the aliens would cancel at the last minute. She had no idea that her routine psychological evaluation had caused panic among the telepathic species. The evaluation had been simple, a standard test that all diplomats took before meeting new species. The results showed that Sandra had normal human intelligence, normal human emotional responses, and normal human problem-solving skills. But to alien psychologists, the results looked impossible. Her mind shows signs of military training, reported Dr. Vex Thule of the Mind Sciences Institute. She can compartmentalize traumatic experiences, maintain focus under extreme stress, and adapt to new situations faster than our best soldiers. Yet her record shows she has never been in combat. The truth was that Sandra had grown up on Earth like any other human. She had dealt with normal human problems like school stress, job interviews, and family arguments. These normal life experiences had taught her the same mental flexibility that all humans learned while growing up. But to aliens who had evolved on easier worlds, human mental toughness looked like advanced military conditioning. The Institute's report was shared with military leaders across the galaxy. Soon Sandra was classified as a disguised super soldier, and human diplomats were banned from most civilized worlds. Military experts began studying human psychology, trying to understand how an entire species could produce such mentally tough individuals. They must have evolved on a world of constant warfare, concluded General Havrock of the Star Empire. Only endless conflict could produce minds this resilient. We must assume that all humans are trained warriors, even the ones who claim to be civilians. Meanwhile, Ryan Foster was trying to help the Hegemony Construction Guild with a building project on the frontier world of Kepler 294. The aliens had been working on a simple mining facility for 2 years, but kept running into problems. The local environment was challenging, with frequent storms and unstable ground. Ryan looked at their construction plans and suggested a few changes. Why not just dig the foundation deeper and use flexible joints, he asked. On Earth, we build stuff to handle earthquakes and hurricanes all the time. This is similar. The alien engineers stared at him in confusion. Flexible joints? Asked Chief Engineer Moltar. But the specifications call for rigid construction. Flexible materials are weaker. Ryan laughed. Not if you design them right. Flexibility makes things stronger, not weaker. Watch this. He spent the next week showing them human construction techniques. He demonstrated how buildings could bend without breaking, how to build foundations that could handle shifting ground, and how to design structures that would get stronger under stress instead of weaker. The project that had been stalled for 2 years was finished in 3 weeks. The mining facility was not only completed ahead of schedule, but it was stronger and more efficient than the original design. The Hegemony engineers went home with stories of impossible human engineering and reality-bending construction methods. They do not build structures, Moltar reported to his superiors. They create living things made of metal and stone. Their buildings think and adapt like creatures. This technology must come from their war world. The construction success was added to the growing list of impossible human achievements. Military analysts began theorizing that human engineering was actually advanced weapons technology, disguised as civilian construction. The idea that humans might build their cities to be fortresses seemed perfectly reasonable, given everything else they had heard. Dr. Lisa Carter was conducting her own diplomatic mission with the Gentle Reef, a species of peaceful ocean dwellers. She had been invited to their water world to study their unique coral cities. The visit was going well until she mentioned that she had learned to swim before she could walk properly. "You lived in water as a child?" asked Coral Singer Wavesh, her tentacles trembling with shock. "But your species breathes air. How did you survive?" Lisa tried to explain that humans were just naturally good swimmers and that most human children learn to swim for fun. But to the gentle reef, the idea of air-breathing creatures who were also expert swimmers was terrifying. They concluded that humans were amphibious super-predators who could hunt on land, in space and in water. The report from the gentle reef described humans as tri-environment, apex predators with advanced shape-shifting abilities. They had misunderstood Lisa's casual mention of learning to swim as evidence that humans could change their biology at will. This report reached the Deep Sea Alliance, a group of water-world governments. Within days, all Alliance worlds had been placed under military protection. Naval fleets were mobilized to guard against the theoretical human invasion that never came. By the end of the year, the human reputation had grown beyond all reason. They were described as immortal warriors who could survive in any environment, master any technology, and defeat any enemy. Their very existence was seen as a threat to galactic stability. The Council of Peaceful Worlds held emergency sessions to discuss the human problem. The IMAC, Industrial Federation, halted all expansion in human-controlled space. The academic collective began studying theoretical defenses against reality-manipulating species. But humans like Jake Morrison were still just drinking coffee and reading reports. Amy Rodriguez was still delivering cargo and sharing chocolate with anyone who would accept it. Sandra Williams was still trying to arrange diplomatic meetings that kept getting canceled. Ryan Foster was still helping solve engineering problems whenever someone asked for help. None of them knew that their simple human decency had been transformed into the greatest terror the galaxy had ever imagined.